Hello, Ignite. For everyone joining around the world, thank you for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed the keynote. I am Simon Scaria. I'm one of the co-creators of Microsoft Mesh. Our goal for this session is to share the developer perspective on Microsoft Mesh so you can build Mesh-enabled applications. Before we dive into the Mesh developer platform, let me share how mixed reality has evolved in the last few years. Mainframes made computing possible by tethered terminals, and PCs made desktop computing go mainstream. Smartphones delivered on-the-go access to the masses. And today, mixed reality is going mainstream, liberating screen-bound experiences into instinctual interactions in your space, among your things, with your people. So if I say hundreds of millions of people have experienced mixed reality, and over 50% of large enterprises have mixed reality projects in development, you'd probably be skeptical. So let us meet those users and organizations. Hundreds of millions of Niantic explorers around the world have traveled mixed reality through the devices in your pocket. As we miss in-person social connections, a silent shift is underway. Meetups like concerts, fitness, training are moving to the virtual worlds. Powered by the sensors already on your phones, consumers are trying out things before they buy. Salvatore Ferragamo is revolutionizing how its customers design, try, and buy their iconic shoes. With mixed reality, Mercedes-Benz is delivering material ROI to their business by reducing cost and eliminating errors. Knowledge is captured and transferred from industry experts to the new employees, making their workforce confident and current. From first-line workers to information workers to everyday consumers, opportunities are here today, and it's becoming mainstream. So, why are these apps so hard to build? These apps are incredibly complex to build and get right because of the following reasons. Number one, 3D models usually start its life in a PLM system, and it's hard to bring high-fidelity 3D models in disparate file formats into mixed reality. Second, people are at the heart of collaboration, and representing them with realism and authenticity without a bevy of external sensors is super hard. Seeing a hologram reliably in a scene shared across users amid changes to lighting, to layout, to seasons is a very difficult research problem, and we're going to talk to you about how we solved it. And distributed systems, you've been trying to get it right for 5 decades. Add to that the complexity of 3-dimensional scenes, and you don't want to be solving that problem. You want us to solve that problem so you can focus on the business scenarios. Enter Microsoft Mesh. It is the platform that enables you to tackle those hard problems and capitalize on that opportunity. Microsoft Mesh will enable your users to feel true presence, design and create together, and connect from anywhere on any device, and I'm so pumped to take the wraps off the platform. Mesh platform is 3 simple parts. One, it's natively cross-platform support for HoloLens, Quest, phones, PC, and Mac. Number 2, a developer platform built on the Azure infrastructure. And finally, a set of mesh-enabled applications so our shared customers can derive instant ROI. Let's keep going deeper. Basics first. Mesh starts its foundation from the most trusted cloud on the planet, Azure. Next, the intellect, where we will spend most of our time today, the AI pillars that deliver unprecedented value to your customers. And finally, the interface, a cross-platform SDK, so you can target the platform where your users are, AR, VR, PCs, or phones. Let's start with the soul of Mesh, presence. The fundamental parameters of digital presence are realism and reach. How do you deliver it in mixed reality? Mesh covers both ends of that spectrum. Mesh delivers the most accessible 3D presence, delivering representative avatars with inside-out sensors already on the devices that you carry. On the other side, you have Mesh delivering the most photorealistic 360-degree holoportation when augmented with outside-in sensors. Of course, the holy grail is to merge these two worlds. So Mesh provides two capabilities to power this experience in your apps. Number one, an out-of-the-box avatar rig and customization studio so you can get started with very minimal investments. Mesh also provides for the advanced apps an AI-powered motion model so that you can bring your own avatars and have Mesh power its motion and expression consistent to the user's actions. So that is avatars for your apps. Now, the ultimate experience of presence, 360-degree holoportation is here. Whether your app is hosting a celebrity, a Fortune 500 executive, or an everyday YouTuber, Mesh has the holoportation technology that is just right for you. Your users can holoport themselves with an everyday phone or with a custom rig. It can be consumed on a phone or on a natively 3D device. Holoportation for the masses on devices of your choice. Next up, we talked about stable holograms. Let's actually take a step back to see the magic behind them. So, if you've been to a concert, you have wished, boy, I wish the friend could shoot a holographic beam to show where they are at, or at a mall and wonder which aisle a product is at. Or in this case, land in a Swiss Federal Railway station and have your friend or technician get to that right spot. How does Mesh enable your users to place a hologram in one part of the building and have another user see it from a completely different location? Here is where Mesh provides a map of the world that is orders of magnitude more accurate than GPS and still works in places without GPS access like the iconic Swiss railway stations. And you would ask, how do you map a space for your app? Simple. Just have your users wear your HoloLens and walk around. Every time someone uses the map is being continuously rebuilt so that it is resilient against seasons, lighting, or even massive layout changes in the room. You want to build contextual data access apps that persist holographic content in the real world? Whether that is for service records, a technician, wayfinding for a customer, placing holograms reliably in space is a common need among collaborative mixed reality applications, and Mesh got you covered with world-locked holograms to your points of interest. Does your app require placing instructions, service records, and other information from the real world aligned to the object? Have you come across scenarios where overlaying visual information aligned to the precise geometry of a given object? Do you see how the valves and cables are not just floating in air but precisely structured to the chassis of the automobile? Well, Mesh platform detects the 3D geometry of the world and give you a 6 degrees of freedom pose relative to that object. Next up, holographic rendering. What you see here are today's options for bridge inspections. Inspectors hang down from dangerous places on ropes every day to take such pictures just to be reviewed later on their PC screens. Or you can do it this way. What you see here is a 3D model of the bridge constructed from a set of drone-based pictures that are rendered in world scale, so you can literally walk under it and inspect from the comforts of your home or office. How is that for an industrial safety value? This is one of the things you have to see it to believe. The wonder and value of spatially visualizing a world-scale hologram with your colleagues is priceless. An essential intelligent edge and intelligent cloud architecture, holographic rendering delivers uncompromised fidelity powered by Mesh regardless of the device's compute and thermal budget. Just to help you contextualize the difference in fidelity between a device-only rendering with its local power versus when it's accelerated by mesh-powered rendering. Here is the left view of 100K polygons and the right view of 100 million polygons on the exact same model. And you can see the difference in visual fidelity it provides. Mesh lets you choose whether you want local standalone rendering or cloud-connected remote rendering seamlessly within your app for each scene, for each model, so the control is in your app. From fidelity to file format support, Mesh also solves the hard problem and challenges of bringing various file formats seamlessly into mixed reality devices. Next up, the Silent Connector Multi-User Sync. What you see here is a scenario of a site inspector in the scene creating a virtual marker and handing it off to her assistant in the virtual space as if it's a physical object in a physical space. The marker evidently is placed correctly. Now a second marker is being placed in the physical space and clearly it's not done correctly. And look at the realism of this interaction. Meanwhile, an expert in the headquarters is participating in this interaction from her PC. The expert can see in real time the error in marker placement through PC streaming powered by Microsoft Mesh. The expert shares a manual of the operation through her PC onto the 3D space. And here, the bridge from the 3D to 2D happens, and the 3D participants can consume the 2D streamed content and complete the operation successfully. And this is what I call the TCP/IP of mixed reality that's included in Mesh. Blink your eye and let that be synchronized across users halfway around the world. From motions and expressions of participants to fine-grained transformations on holograms, experienced together with the power of Mesh. Another aspect of multi-user sync is the perception of audio. And it's so nuanced. In a meeting, we consume sound bites directionally. Imagine the audio from holograms sent consistent to their spatial positions into your virtual space. Well, that's spatial audio, powered by Microsoft Mesh. And now, let me pause here on this snapshot of the core capabilities of the Mesh Developer Platform as I request Doreen Brown, Senior PM for Mesh Developer Platform, to come build a Mesh app real-time with us.
Thanks, Simon. Hi, Ignite. My name is Doreen. I'm a program manager on the Mesh platform team. And my goodness, am I so excited to be able to tell you about Microsoft Mesh today. And I hope you are just as excited and prepared to be even more excited because I get to show you how incredibly simple it is to build an application on the Mesh platform. Two things we're going to tackle in the next 10 minutes. First, we're going to demo an application that we're going to build using the same preview bits our developers use today. We'll see that app working on HoloLens 2, and we'll see that app working on the PC. We're then going to build the application. And I can hear you in the comments section now, Doreen, there's no way you can build a 3D app in 10 minutes. Well, I'm going to actually up the ante on this whole thing and say we are going to assemble this whole application with a collaborative experience without writing a single line of code. Let's take a look at the app. So the device I'm about to put on my head is a HoloLens 2. And it is the device that will allow my head pose, so where my head is looking, my hand pose, as well as where my eyes are looking, to translate into a 3D avatar. And that avatar is what you'll see as I move around the space. And so the view you currently see is the view I see on my HoloLens as I look around. So you'll note on this menu, I'm just going to go to my All Apps and open a sample that we're going to build today. So the HoloLens will load into the space. And here you see a couple classic components of a collaborative scenario. And you'll also see, as I enter this collaboration space, the beginnings of my digital self being overlaid on my physical form. So these hands, for example, right, as I count up or a thumbs up, or a thumbs down. It's what people see when I'm in this digital space. So why don't I go ahead and invite a user to this session? Because this prefab, and we'll talk about that in a second, is hooked up to the Microsoft Graph, all I need to do is type a few letters, and we'll use people search APIs to determine who that person is. So we have that person, right? And if we walk over here, you'll notice that this user has been asked to join the Ignite session. And so if I just click accept, because I'm on a PC, I navigate this world with a keyboard and mouse as opposed to with my hands, right? And we translate that fairly seamlessly for you. You'll now see my avatar. I'm typing on the PC, so you'll see my hands move a bit there. And you'll see that I'm in the space, which is so exciting, right? I did no work really, and I have very realistic movement. You can see here, I move my fingers, I thumbs up when I feel really excited about something, I thumbs down when I feel less excited about something. But speaking of apps and speaking of code reviews, why don't we go ahead and assemble this application? I'll take my HoloLens off and we'll spend the rest of this demo at the PC. So there are a couple components of building a mesh-enabled application. Part one is let's make sure that my client looks how I want it to look, right? We'll build that in Unity today. You could also build this in C# or C++ or any variety of technologies, but we'll just keep it simple. You then need to take the client application and connect it to the cloud. And there's a little bit of configuration there. So what I have open here is a registered application just as you would with any other app in the Microsoft ecosystem. If you've built something for the Microsoft Graph, for example, you register an application in Azure Active Directory, do the same exact thing with Mesh. I'm currently in this Active Directory with a registered app. So I've said, look, I've got some client code I want to connect to the cloud. We assign me a client ID and tenant ID. And then under API permissions, I've asked for not only permissions to the graph for things like reading from OneDrive, but I've also asked for a mixed reality scope. So what this means is that every time you interact with mixed reality, whether it's to have your hand positions move or whatnot, you must consent to that in the same way Microsoft protects all of your other data through that same consent dialog. I've already done all of that in this app. I've already logged in, but you can imagine same thing as you've already seen. So what I'll do is we'll go back just a scooch and we'll take a look at what we have in the Unity editor. So all I've done right now is I've file newed a Unity app, right? I've imported the packages from the preview, and you can see here it's added quite a few folders to this packages directory. We've got the avatar, which we just wowed ourselves with, but we also have the Unity Toolkit UX, which allows us to take common components and easily drag and drop them into the app. So for example, that centerpiece we talked about, that big table, it's a prefab. All I gotta do is just drag and drop that into the application. And then it is just part of my app. There's some finagling I need to do to center it. We'll just do that real quickly. And then let's say we want to add something on top of that table. So if we, for example, maybe we want to look at a model together. The display case is meant for just that. And it will let us look at a OneDrive model together. So if I add that same prefab, just drag and drop that into the scene. Do a little bit more finagling. Cool, cool. And then we have here the sign-in dialog, the centerpiece, and then the app. So the next step then is to take these client bits and hook them up to the cloud. And we've heard you developers. Thank you for all the feedback we've gotten about, the challenges maybe around connecting Unity apps to various parts of our ecosystem. We've made it much easier for you now. And so if I go to the Mesh plugin window, you can see here, all I'm going to do is paste that same client ID and the same tenant ID, and then Mesh can take it from there to connect you and your users to the cloud. So at that point, we will press play. Ta-da! Look at that! Told you we were not writing any code at all. We did not write any code at all. We imported some packages, we used some prefabs. You can see here, I've already authenticated before, so it's cached my access token, but we are connected and logged in. And you don't have to necessarily take my word for it. The tooling we provide will tell you the same thing. If I go to the Mesh plugin window, I can see that the service is connected. If I click disconnect, it disconnects itself, and then I can just reconnect. But why don't we go ahead and just as though we added ourselves to a session before, we'll do that again. And we'll click create session. All right, so we've now connected. Unity is giving us a couple of statistics. I'm logged in with that same fake person account, right? So for example, if we wanted to maybe load one of those models we talked about, all I need to do now is just select that file. I can take a look at any one of the models I have loaded in my OneDrive. And let's say, for example, we're talking about communication quite a bit. Let's maybe bring it back around. We'll load part of a telegraph into the scene. Bam, that's it. That's it. That's all we had to do, right? All of Mesh's rendering technology in one application. We wrote no code. We configure the prefabs. I can move around the space and you can see that same model. You can imagine loading any number of other models on top of that, because honestly, this demo, as cool as it is really just scratching the surface of the Mesh platform. And we look forward to seeing what all of you do with the SDK as we announce both today and as we continue on into the future. So thank you very much. Back to you, Simon.
Thank you, Doreen. What an amazing demo. Not only was it a showcase of the power of the platform, but it also showed the simplicity of building applications on Microsoft Mesh. Today, Mesh is in preview on several platforms and popular middleware. We have followed the signal from our customers and partners to prioritize these endpoints. Here is the full list of platforms we intend to support in the future. So if you're building an app and your target platform should be prioritized, let us know. We are listening. So I want to close this with a big thank you to our partners and the community of you developers. It's you who make mixed reality go mainstream today. I want to show one of our close partners, Case Western Reserve, on how they are reimagining instructional learning in mixed reality. Hey, Mark, great to have you here with us.
How you doing?
Very good. Thank you for joining us. As an early adopter of mixed reality, can you share a bit more about what you do at Case and your experience so far with HoloLens?
I'm a professor of radiology, and I'm also the faculty director of an institute called the Interactive Commons at Case Western Reserve University. And we've been developing with HoloLens since 2015.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you've been using mixed reality for your university?
Our university has really embraced mixed reality as one of the core components of the future of education. Right now, our medical school has completely changed the way that we teach anatomy to be based in mixed reality. So for the last 5 years, we've developed a program called HoloAnatomy that allows groups of students to work together to learn the structures of the human body. And this is now what our students use every day.
Wow. How have you used mixed reality to adapt instructional learning in the last year with the lack of in-person interactions?
So we actually published this in JAMA Open. When the pandemic hit, we had 1 week, got together 185 HoloLenses and sent them to all of our med students that still had to learn anatomy. So we had 1 week to turn around our infrastructure. But we did it, and our students didn't miss a day of class, even though the state was shut down.
That's incredible. Wow.
We studied them. We asked them, is this effective as a way to learn? 85% of them said yes, right, on the first run. They had more space. They could move around. They felt that they could see things better and study on their own and do more and learn better in the end. So that was a week that we had to do that, right? That was 1 week. Now imagine if we've got these kind of platforms like Mesh where you can make this for real, That's what we're trying to do.
I'm always impressed by what you do at Case Western. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your work. I really enjoyed this conversation.
No worries. Anytime. This is fun.
Wow, that was humbling and inspirational. Now let's hear from Cognitive Spark on their mesh project.
How you doing, Simon?
Doing great. So Ryan, tell us a little bit about Cognitive Spark.
Cognitive Spark has an application called Remote Spark, which is an industrial remote worker support tool. So we assist complex tasks for remote workers and connect them to experts using a HoloLens.
Great. So you mentioned HoloLens, but are there other devices involved in similar scenarios?
Well, what happens when a remote worker needs help from an expert? They put on the HoloLens, launch our application, they connect to the expert on a 2D device. So the point of view video from the HoloLens is being sent to the expert. Then the expert then can annotate their real world with digital assets like PDFs, photos, holograms. They can be hooked to IoT data to help them understand the problem at hand.
Got it. So the mixed reality devices then are really interesting because you can get that viewpoint from the field, right?
Well, what's important is you can get a hands-free point of view video, but then the expert then can push content down to that holographic scene. So maybe a PDF, maybe a photo, maybe an IoT hologram that the remote worker can put in their purview and assist them on that complex task.
Oh, honestly, that sounds like an ideal mesh scenario. So thank you, Ryan, for sharing and being part of the preview. Can you tell a bit about what has been your experience with the SDK, and be honest with us?
We currently use WebRTC for peer-to-peer audio video, which gives one connection from a HoloLens back to a PC, but we can't do multiple users. Customers are really requesting, because it's a complex task, how do we add more people to help solve the problem? Can we have more experts? Can we have more HoloLenses and make more of a collaboration? And then this project came up, and we didn't have to worry about the WebRTC portion because it's quite a large open source project. There's multiple tech giants that sort of have pieces of that code, and it's ever changing. And it's not really optimized for the HoloLens, so we have to do a lot of code to make sure it works well on the HoloLens. And then with this new video transport, we don't need to worry about that. And it's built in, has the collaborative features, so we can have multiple users, multiple experts, and we can worry about building the application, solving a problem for our customers, instead of getting deep into the weeds into an open source project, which is ever changing. It's exciting. I mean, it's a new world. I mean, that's what got me into HoloLens programming to start. It's a new paradigm of the way that we can bring digital assets to people. And this really opens up the collaboration. I mean, I think the killer application for the HoloLens is connecting people, and it's to bringing those assets into the physical world. And more people you can bring together to work on a problem, quicker you can solve those complex problems.
That's for sure, Ryan. I mean, if you truly are experiencing those kinds of benefits, that's precisely where we are going with the mesh platform. Ryan, it's been really great to talk to you this afternoon, and thank you also for all the amazing work you've been doing to sort of bring mixed reality into mainstream. I look forward to chatting with you, not only on Teams, but, like we are doing today, but I hope, sometime soon in an application built using Mesh SDK.
Thanks, Simon. Talk to you soon.
That's a wrap, folks. Here are some pointers on next steps. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the digital event.